Welcome everyone. In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at percent. Mathematically, percent is defined as the part divided by the whole times 100. And the units end up being just percent. In chemistry, our version is known as percent composition. And this is where you're going to need your reference table. If you open up to page 12, which is the back cover of your reference table, on table T, you'll have a formula that's known as percent composition by mass. If you look at the reference table, percent composition by mass is really just the mass of the part divided by the mass of the whole times 100. So essentially, it is just part over whole times 100. The units still end up being percent. So let's take an example just so you can see how this works. Now, you're going to need your reference table, so if you haven't gotten it already, go get it. Also, go grab a calculator. Pause the video if you need to go get it. At this point, I'm also going to warn you that when we take masses off the periodic table, we're going to take our masses to 2 decimal places. So whatever 2 decimal places you see, you're just going to take those 2 numbers. We're not going to round. However, when we put our numbers into the percent composition formula, we are going to have to round when we get a final answer. And when we round, we're going to round to 2 decimal places. And that's always going to be the same directions, no matter what problem you're going to do in terms of percent composition. So the sample problem reads, what is the percent composition of A, nitrogen, and B, oxygen for ammonium sulfate? So this is a 2-part question, but the first thing that we always have to do is we have to look at the formula. They give us the formula in words. So the first thing we're going to need to do is really translate this into a chemical formula. Now ammonium is on table E and sulfate is on table E. So somewhere on the side, I'm just going to put some work here. I know that ammonium, when I look at table E, is NH4 and it's got a charge of +1. Sulfite is SO3 and it's got a charge of -2. When I crisscross, the correct formula ends up being NH4 with a subscript of 2 and SO3. Okay, now that part's easy. You should by now know how to write a chemical formula. Now, since it's asking for percent composition, that means I need to know the part and I need to know the whole. The whole really is just your formula mass. And it's known as formula mass here because ammonium sulfate is ionic. So I need to do the same thing that I did in my last lesson. I need to know what I have, how many, and I need to multiply by the masses. So it's the same kind of format. I know I have nitrogen, and there happen to be 2 nitrogens. I'm going to multiply by the mass of nitrogen to 2 decimal places, which means 14.00, and I'm going to leave it atomic mass units. Hydrogens, when I look at the formula carefully, I have 8 hydrogens. I'm going to multiply by 1.00 atomic mass units. Sulfur, I have 1 of those as well. When I check the periodic table, the mass of sulfur to 2 decimal places is 32.06 atomic mass unit. And then finally oxygen, I have 3 of those according to my formula, and I'm going to multiply that by 15.99 atomic mass unit. Now I'm going to plug all my numbers into my calculator and I'm going to finally get the total. Nitrogen we end up being as 28.00. Hydrogen is 8 atomic mass unit. Sulfur is 32.06 atomic mass unit. And oxygen, when I multiply, it becomes 47.97 atomic mass unit. I'm going to sum them together to get a total or a whole, and that ends up being 116.03 atomic mass unit. All right, so that part's the whole. Now I need to find the percent composition of nitrogen. That's the first part of the question. So what I'm always going to do is I'm going to write a formula. I'm going to write percent, and you can shorthand. I can write down part over whole or mass of part over whole. Doesn't matter how you want to short it, but I'm going to shorthand it this way, and it's still going to be over 100, or times 100, excuse me. So the first question asks for nitrogen. So what is the percent composition of nitrogen? Now the part of nitrogen that I have to look for is right here. Since there's two nitrogens, the part happens to be 28.00 atomic mass unit, and the whole is going to be 116.03 atomic mass unit. I'm going to multiply everything by 100. When I do my math correctly and I put it into my calculator, I end up getting an answer of 24.13%. And that's my percent composition of nitrogen. But I'm not done yet, because the question also asks for oxygen. So I still have to write a formula. I can write the formula long if I want to write down mass of part divided by mass of whole times 100. Just in case you forgot the mathematical one, you can just go to the reference table and copy it. And this one's specifically going to be for oxygen. So if I check what I did to find the whole, or the formula mass, it says that oxygen's part is really 47.97 atomic mass units. So I'm just going to put that on the top. I'm going to divide by the whole, which happens to be 116.03 atomic mass unit, and I'm going to multiply everything by 100. When I put it into my magic calculator, I end up getting the percent composition of oxygen to be 41.34, and the unit happens to be percent. All right. This question could have asked for anything, could have asked for the hydrogen's percent composition or the sulfur's percent composition. So just read the question carefully, and then always remember to put your units down as well. All right, so you're going to try some independently, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.